We're in the Tom Baker Room of the City County Building. This will be the Board of City Commissioners meeting, but before we start, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I do not see a chaplain here, so we'll just do the Pledge of Allegiance on our own.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can call the meeting in order. If we can call roll, please.
Commissioner Norrish?
Here.
Commissioner Zanker?
Here.
Commissioner Connolly?
Here.
Commissioner Cleary?
Here.
Mayor Schmitz?
Here. I'd like to now call forward Chief Dave Dravich. He's got a special request.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me some time. Today is a very somber day for our city. It marks the 14th year anniversary of the murder of our Sergeant Steve Kenner. And I have never attended a commission meeting on this date. So I asked if I could just say a couple of words and then maybe have a moment of silence for Steve to honor him. I don't talk about this much, but I happen to be the shift commander on that fateful night. And Steve and I worked very closely together for several years. And so it's something that I wish I'd never seen, and I hope it never happens again here, or anywhere for that matter. So with that, if you just join me for a moment of silence, and I just want to thank you again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we'll now have public comment. Our public comment is restricted to items on the consent agenda or a regular agenda that is not a public hearing. So anyone who wishes to speak, please come forward. Let us know the topic you're speaking to and sign in and give us your name.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Tonight I'm here to speak on regular agenda item F. So the Burley County Public Health is
Travis, can you just tell for everybody watching your name?
Travis Jensen. I am a Burley County resident, ETA resident. But I'm here tonight to speak on the regular agenda item F. So Burley County Public Health is requesting $50,000 from the opioid settlement deal from the city and the county last night. For those of us that were there or watching, we heard about it last night at the county commission meeting. And I guess the reason I'm here tonight is there's no information being given. The presentation last night, there was no information. Well, why has public health become something that we don't explain to the public? Services, who it serves. It just seems like, we got the battle between the city and the county going on, and who's going to cover the services, who's going to pay for it, how we're going to divvy it up. The sleeves are rolled up. Everybody wants to fight over it. But we haven't taken any opportunity to educate the very people who fund it, the taxpayers. Let's go back to COVID. I want to talk briefly on COVID. I know a lot of you weren't sitting up here at the time, so you didn't have that stress. I know one of you was, so you remember how stressful that was. My concern as a Burley County resident, someone who, I've lived in Bismarck my entire life, why have we not done something to rebuild the relationship between the community and public health? I mean, there was a lot of fighting going on, and I've been watching these meetings since Hunky stood up at this podium and told the county commissioners that they were going to pay for the new building, that the county wouldn't come to the table to and discuss. So I'm asking you guys, and I've asked the county commissioners the same thing. When are we going to start doing some public outreach and getting transparency, trust, getting the public on board with public health? That's my request tonight. So I'd like to, that's what brought me here, is to hear hopefully some questions be asked about what is this $100,000 going to get us? We can all agree that we need a triage center. We need something to deal with what that'll get us. But what is that money actually getting the people in Bismarck and Burley County? Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. This is public comment. Anyone who wishes to speak, please come forward. A second call for public comment. A third and final call for public comment. Seeing or hearing anyone, public comment period is now closed. Commissioners, we are to the consent agenda. I know that we do need to pull item D1, gaming site authorization application, because there was some missing information to that one. And Commissioner Zinker, I think you had an item you wanted to formally pull too.
Yes, sir. Mayor, K2 needs to be pulled for, it'll come back at a future date. They just have some details that need to be worked out.
Yep.
Nothing, not a major deal.
And the same thing with the application. So
Sure.
with those two items pulled, what are your wishes to the consent agenda?
I'll move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Zinker?
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Commissioner Risch?
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes. Moving to the regular agenda, item A, consider request to receive pavement conditions and analysis report provided or prepared by Quality Engineering Services. Gabe, are you presenting this?
Combination.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We had a process or a project that the MPO started, collecting pavement data on all of our functionally classified roads that are eligible for federal aid. We used that opportunity to use that same contractor to look at every single road that we have in Bismarck in 2024. And I guess what you'll see tonight is the final presentation of that 2024 analysis of all of the pavement conditions. We have from Quality Engineering Services, Kurt Kiefer and Mona, I'm going to butcher the last name, Noblacht. Definitely butchered that, so apologize in advance, Mona. To do a presentation. I will answer any questions that you might have of me at the end, but the general ask of the commission is to accept the report. That's what we're looking here today. And without further ado, Kurt, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Gabe. Is my audio coming through loud and clear?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you for the opportunity to present the results of our pavement condition survey for the city this evening. This project goes back almost 15 years since I've been working and collaborating with city staff to implement the existing pavement management system and performing pavement condition surveys every 3 to 4 years for more than a decade. So the scope of this project was to perform a routine comprehensive pavement condition survey on approximately 360 centerline miles of the city's roadway network. The inspection was performed with an automated data collection system, and we captured pavement condition index data, PCI data, per industry standards, ASTM D643, 6433. And we also captured international roughness index values for the city's roadways, which assess the bumpiness of the roads. So PCI values assess the overall condition of a segment of roadway, and the IRI values assess the bumpiness of the roadway. We took this data, updated the city's existing pavement management system, and we linked that to the city's GIS, and we performed several analyses and put together a final report with our findings and recommendations for the city. And over the last month, we did almost 16 hours of training with city staff to bring the new team up to speed on the system and to do a little bit of tech transfer there. So the project consisted of several tasks, the most important being the pavement condition survey, and then ultimately the most important being the analysis and reporting that we did using the data that were collected. Here's just a quick example of some of the type of data that were collected on the city's roadways. We collected a downward imagery of the pavement surface, and we're able to use some sophisticated crack detection algorithms to determine the amount of cracking and other distresses that were present on the city's roadway or throughout the city's roadway network. The results of the survey are shown here. On the right, you can see a map that shows the PCI, the pavement condition index values for each segment of the city's roadway network. And basically, roadways that are in green are in adequate condition. And we had approximately 304 centerline miles that were in adequate condition. And then about 53 miles in degraded condition, and about 4 that were in unsatisfactory condition. Those buckets of condition, those ranges of PCI values, were based on what other municipal agencies use. And we established these buckets of condition almost 15 years ago with the city. And they're also standard within the Department of Defense, which is also a user of the paver pavement management system. And shown in the lower left corner here are definitions of what adequate, degraded, and unsatisfactory roads mean. So these are a simple way of visualizing the condition data. However, there is significant data that backs up these scores, so city staff can go in and evaluate the more granular data for each roadway segment. Here are a few example pavement conditions that we pulled out from the data that were collected. We have a roadway in Medora Avenue that has a PCI that was recently overlaid, a PCI score of 94 in the upper left corner. And then we have roadways ranging from 94 to 82 to 80. And roadways that are in adequate condition, those scores above 70, are typically candidates for preventive maintenance, chip seals, crack seals, slurry seals, that type of maintenance. What we're trying to do for roadways that are in adequate condition is to keep them in adequate condition, to keep them from deteriorating below PCI scores ranging in the 60s, at which point it's much more expensive to maintain the roadway. So essentially trying to keep the roadway assets in good condition and delay the deterioration of those roads as much as possible. However, when pavements do drop below that 70, more significant repairs or rehabilitation may be required. Seal cracks, maybe a cape seal, maybe a more structural overlay of those roadways. And that just becomes more and more expensive over time. Now, the good news is, based off the findings of the survey, the city has done an incredible job of maintaining the roadways. The city has used the funding that they've had over the past decade plus to increase the PCI scores of the roadways and to be more proactive and to use the maintenance and rehabilitation dollars that are available as optimally as possible. After we did the condition survey, we then used the pavement management software, again, the paver system, to determine what types of maintenance and rehabilitation, what levels of maintenance and rehabilitation are most appropriate for the city's roadway network. And we evaluated different types of or different levels of preventive maintenance and then resurfacing and overlay and reconstruction for the city's roadways, and developed a cost estimate, or not, a network level estimate for funding that would be required to maintain the city's roadways at given different funding levels. And here we show a summary of 4 analyses that we performed. The first of which is the impact of the city's current funding level over a 5-year horizon. So we did a 5-year analysis using the city's current budget of approximately $15 million a year, and we determined, or at least based off of the deterioration that we were able to assess based off of historical performance of the city's roadways, that level of funding is significant and will maintain. It's anticipated that it would maintain the overall network PCI is approximately an 80, as shown in the upper right-hand graph here. And the one thing I do want to point out about this funding level is that, shown in the table to the lower left, the $15 million a year actually, based off of the modeling that we did, somewhat exceeds the needs of the network. So there is, we're showing a total 5-year cost of approximately $55.7 million, which is what would be based off of the software and some assumptions in there regarding inflation, things like that, what would be needed to be spent, rather than the total $75 million. So again, that $15 million per year results in roadway network approximately PCI score of 80 and no backlog. So there's no required major work such as significant resurfacing or reconstruction required of the roadways at the end of that 5-year period. We then evaluated what a 40% and 60% reductions in the current budget, bringing budgets down to $9 million and $6 million respectively. And we found that the overall condition scores drop a little bit below the 80s, 78 and 76 respectively. The only thing to note, though, is that the backlog for those budgets, basically the unfunded maintenance and rehabilitation at the end of that 5-year horizon, would increase if there was a 60% reduction, and it would grow a bit if there was a 40% reduction. So basically what we're saying is that we see some decrease in condition with those different funding scenarios, those more conservative funding scenarios. However, the backlog, the unfunded work at the end of that 5-year period does increase. And that's most illustrated through the analysis that we ran if we assume no funding. So if the city decided to spend nothing, the score would, the PCI score over the 5-year period would drop significantly down to a 72, and the backlog of unfunded maintenance and rehabilitation would spike up to approximately $72 million. So that's something to consider when evaluating the impact of different funding levels on not only the overall condition of the roadway network, but also the percentage of the roadways that are in need of more major, more expensive maintenance and rehabilitation at the end of that 5-year horizon. So our recommendation is quite simple. Keep monitoring conditions, see how the maintenance and rehabilitation activities that the city is currently performing are performing as far as condition and deterioration is concerned. And when performing analyses moving forward, keep tabs on what actual costs are. We've seen lots of variability in asphalt prices, concrete prices over the last 5 years. Those prices are, as you all well know, up in the Dakotas, the price of oil goes up and down. And so those the cost for maintaining a roadway network is definitely subject to global pricing pressures. And then continue implementing pavement preservation treatments, keep good pavements in good conditions, and always be focused on applying the right treatment to the right pavement at the right time. The study provides an overview of pavement conditions, but when determining what exact pavement maintenance or rehabilitation activity is needed for a roadway, that's the time for the city engineers to be putting on their thinking caps and evaluating the practical realities of what's happening in the field. So with that, I'd like to conclude my presentation and open it up to any questions for Gabe or myself.
Commissioner Rich.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'm really impressed with the report, especially when I had it on my laptop and I could expand the map on the different streets. What kind of technology is used in that fancy van you've got? It's more than an X-ray or a videotape, or what? How does that all work?
That has been an evolving technology. When I started, when I got into this profession back in the late 90s, we were using 35 millimeter film, and we went to VHS, and then we went to digital line scan cameras, and now we have 3D digital line scan cameras, which create a 3D surface of the pavement. So as we're driving, we're capturing not only a 2-dimensional image, but actually a 3-dimensional image, which allows us to see the depth of deformations in the surface. And with the advent of AI and machine learning, it makes it easier for us to more objectively and repeatedly determine where cracking is on the pavement surface. So this 3D technology came online 2014, 2015, and it's for the companies, the technology firms that produce these types of camera systems. This is second generation, the latest state-of-the-art technology that we deployed for this project. in the field. So going back 15 years when we first did this project for the city in, I think it was 2010, 2011, the technology that we were using was a 2D imaging technology. And so this 3D imaging technology we've deployed for the last 2 surveys. It is quite remarkable. Lots of data.
Commissioner Conley.
Thanks for the presentation. I agree, it's impressive. And that I have one question for you and then one question for Gabe. One might be presumption. We're currently going through a reconstruction project on East Century from Centennial that curves around and will be 52nd. That's showing as green, and I would presume that would be because of the projects going on right now. The 52nd Street corridor, there's like blank spots. Is that just because that rehab isn't done or it isn't in place yet, or?
Sure, Commissioner Conley, I can answer that one. Mayor and Commissioners, the inventory was picked up in 2024, so it was like the fall of 2024. So on 52nd, for example, that road didn't exist, so there would not show up on this inventory. Specific to the segment of Century, the pavement condition would show as a green or an adequate one because we did, not in 2024, but in 2023, a chip seal on that roadway that, although it was kind of a Band-Aid, some chip seal and some patching would temporarily bring that roadway's pavement condition index to a higher level, but we would know that that would be a type of roadway that would degrade at a faster rate than maybe a traditionally built or newly constructed facility. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it helps with the timing and the learning curve, trying to keep up with all of the stuff that we do. The other thing is that it would be direct to you is that on all of those red and yellow areas right now, how many of them will come off this year because they're being rehabbed? Like I would presume Avenue C from the one-way to 16th would be one of those because that's under rehab right now.
Sure, Commissioner Conley, Mayor and Commissioners. What we would find here is that in the 2024 inventory that would show some of the degraded roads, the unsatisfactory type facilities were likely the candidates that we then move forward with 2025 projects, and if not in 2025, you'll see them in 2026. What doesn't show up very well, though, is some of those green ones that show as satisfactory are making their way towards that yellow stage or that red stage. So it's one of those things that's a point in time of analysis that helps us inform the decision. But once we get rid of all of the yellow and red ones, we shouldn't have the expectation that they're all now green, because some of those green that we haven't worked on for the last couple of years will start falling their way back into those other categories.
Okay. And then last question is, how old's the street along Normandy now that's starting to go towards that unsatisfactory? Because that's a newer development area.
I guess I'm not sure, Kurt, if you have that slide that had the age on those facilities, or that was just the current condition.
Sure, let me take a peek here and see if I have that. I'm not sure if I had the age shown on those or not. Which section, apologies, which section was in question?
Bottom right, Normandy Street, section 32.
Section 32.
Yeah.
And that's between, from intersection which to which?
I guess we're not necessarily sure where that would be. I think this is in the report as an example. We'd have to dive into the data to see exactly what that picture represents. So short answer is I don't have an answer of where this is because I'm not exactly sure where section 32 is relative to the other segments of Normandy.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to receive the report.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Commissioner Risch?
Yes.
Commissioner Zinker?
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes. Next item B, public hearing on a request for a new Class C2 hotel complimentary alcohol license for Bismarck Sunrise Hotel, doing business as Wingate by Wyndham. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak to this topic, please come forward. A second call for public comment. A third and final call for public comment. Hearing and seeing no one coming forward, the public comment period is now closed. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Commissioner Risch?
Yes.
Commissioner Zinker?
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes. Item C, public hearing on the proposed memorandum of understanding with AP Construction, Ubel Design, and JL Architects regarding the Bismarck Event Center amenity development project. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wish to speak to this, please come forward. A second call for public comment. A third and final call for public comment. Seeing and hearing no one, public comment period is now closed. Commissioners, what are your wishes? This was so that they could negotiate.
Sure. Well, I'll move we approve the memorandum of understanding for the event center.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Do we have a discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Risch?
Yes.
Commissioner Zenker?
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly?
No.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Mayor Schmidt?
Yes. Next item is a public hearing on ordinances 6624 and 6625, a zoning map amendment for proposed Silver Ranch 5th edition, and on ordinance 6626, an annexation of parts of Silver Ranch 3rd edition. Go ahead, Ben.
Thank you, Mayor. And one other thing I will point out that I neglected, I missed in the cover memo. There's also one item. It is in your packets, but it wasn't referenced in the cover memo, but it'll also be consideration of the release of a temporary easement as well in Silver Ranch 5th, and I'll reiterate that in my closing of the presentation here. But the property in question that the mayor referenced is in northeast, or it's northeast of Bismarck, north of 43rd Avenue, northeast and east of Silver Boulevard. Project area is comprised of 42.7 acres and proposes 136 lots in 6 blocks. Future land use associated with the proposal is designated as urban neighborhood and parks and open space, and the existing zoning is currently agricultural. The Planning and Zoning Commission did consider this request at their May 28th meeting of this year. Aside from the applicant, there was no oral or written testimony which was provided. And at the conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of the zoning map amendment from the A Agricultural Zoning District to the RM20 Residential District and PUD Planned Unit Development, as well as a major subdivision final plat, and as I referenced earlier, an easement release associated with Silver Ranch 5th edition, and as well as an annexation for parts of Silver Ranch 3rd edition and Silver Ranch 5th edition. Are there questions that you may have related to this proposal?
Commissioners, any questions? Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak on this, please come forward, state your name, sign in.
Commissioner, or excuse me, Mayor, Commissioners, thank you. My name is Jason Patrician. I work with Swenson Hagen and Company, and am representing the owner of Silver Ranch 3rd and 5th. And just a little insight, we've got 2 different areas that we're currently trying to put some pavement on here and some water sewer in. One in Silver Ranch 3rd edition for a builder. And then also we've got one in Silver Ranch 5th edition. So we do have some streets at the end of Halverson and at the end of Silbernagle Drive. And so we'd like to make that connection. That's located in Silver Ranch 3rd edition. And then our other project that we'd like to extend Davies into the annexation area for the Silver Ranch 5th, which will be a different builder with a different style in that area. And that area would then have a community center and stuff like that. So with that, I can answer any questions if you have anything.
Any questions for Jason?
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Public comment is open. Anyone else who wishes to speak, please come forward. A second call for public comment. A third and final call for public comment. Seeing and hearing no one, public comment period is now closed. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Zanker?
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Commissioner Risch?
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes. Next item, E, is a public hearing on the release of drainage easement on Lot 34, Block 1, Misty Waters. Lauren, you get the opportunity, huh?
I do. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Derek and Chrisandra Kostelecki are requesting the release of the 20-foot drainage easement less than northerly 10 feet on Lot 34, Block 1, Misty Waters. The property is located northwest of Bismarck, west of Burnt Creek Loop, west of Dream Drive at the southwesterly end of Dream Circle. Their original easement was granted with the plat of Misty Waters on September 27th, 2005. Release of any easements other than franchise utility easements requires a public hearing with the City Commission. Owners of adjacent properties were also notified of the public hearing. As a result of findings contained in the staff report, staff find that the release of the drainage easement as described in the attached resolution would not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare and is consistent with the comprehensive plan, code of ordinances, and relevant state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the release of the 20-foot drainage easement less than northerly 10 feet on Lot 34, Block 1, Misty Waters. Do you have any questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Thank you.
There's a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak, please come forward. A second call for public comment. A third and final call for public comment. Public comment period is now closed. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Commissioner Risch?
Yes.
Commissioner Zanker?
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes. Item F, consider a request from Bismarck Burley Public Health for the allocation of $50,000 from the city's opioid settlement funds to support technical assistance to the development of a comprehensive plan for the Community Triage Center in Bismarck. Go ahead, Renee.
Thank you, Mayor Schmitz and Commissioners. I guess I'd like to address the comments of Mr. Jensen, if that would be okay, just to provide some background information for you. The Community Triage Center, the issues of mental health and addiction, homelessness, obviously have been an issue for our community for several years. And my involvement with this dates back to 2017. I was appointed by the mayor at that time, which would have been Mike Seminary, to lead the Mayor's Gold Star Community Task Force to address addiction and behavioral health issues in our community. Through the efforts of that, we had a coalition. It still exists today. It's the Burley Morton Behavioral Health Coalition. We're addressing issues like addiction, mental health crisis, and trying to do what we can to meet the needs of the community in this area. In 2019, we did a call for projects of social health. That is a big part of the strategic plan for the city of Bismarck and our current strategic plan as we're going through our goals and objectives. Social health was a big piece of the work for public health. And the areas identified in the Community Triage Center were addressed as a need through that effort, and that was a community effort among organizations, brought forward to the City Commission and County Commission on both sides. We've done community health needs assessments in 2021 and in 2024, where mental health and addiction have come up as the top priorities, and we have been working to address them in our community. Of course, we had the 2020 pandemic, and that became priority, and we were working through that emergency. And so our efforts have reconvened in 2024 of June 24. We had a community health needs assessment stakeholders meeting where people heard the results of our stakeholders surveys. It was a community survey that was published on the city's website. The local hospitals were involved. And following that, a couple weeks later, we had a housing and homeless forum, and similar issues were brought forward at that time as well. In August of 2024, I came before the Bismarck City Commission asking for approval, showing you statistics and information about addiction, behavioral health in our community, the needs that we have, and what we learned from these community stakeholder meetings. And got the direction at that point in time to see what it would take to get a community triage center up and running. What would it look like to have something like this in our community? The biggest factor, there are three components of those things, and this was all presented to the City Commission in August of 24, and then it was also presented to the Burleigh County Commission in September of 2024. What the concept was, what it entailed, and then to just start having conversations. And that's what has happened since that time. We've had community conversations. The biggest issues that we see are medical detoxification. If someone is under the influence of drugs or alcohol, right now law enforcement deals with them and they're going to the local emergency rooms, taking space there from other health issues that are emergent, and also impacting law enforcement, dealing with jail and the Burleigh Morton Detention Center and our Bismarck Police Department. Another component of that is social detox and emergency mental health crisis. Right now, Dakota Foundation operates a facility on Basin Avenue, and they deal with mental health crisis response through a contract with West Central Human Service Center. In addition to that, they do social detox at that facility and are a community partner with us on our triage center efforts. Ministry on the Margins has been filling a gap temporarily. It is not a low barrier shelter. It is a coffee house where people can come in off the street. People don't have beds, they don't have showers. It's just a place for them to be, and it's not a long-term solution. And so that third component of a triage center would be a low barrier shelter type of facility. And all of it, the concept is, and it's not a new concept, it's been used in other communities across the nation, to be able to triage individuals, taking them out of the jail, taking them out of the emergency rooms, and putting them in an actual place where they can receive care, healthcare services, and be triaged appropriately and connected to services to get back into addiction treatment, mental health counseling, and other needs and connections that way. And so we got some stakeholders together, had some meetings, and we were at the point of working with the North Dakota Department of Health and Human Services. And if you guys recall, it was in March, I came to you and asked, I was on the agenda to ask for permission to award a contract to Healthcare Management Associates. And this was technical assistance that was federal funding coming from the North Dakota Department of Health and Human Services to us through a contract. And at 4:30 that day, I received a phone call telling me that that money had been pulled back as of yesterday. And I came to you and said to pull that item from the agenda because our funding was not there. So we had gone through the request for proposals process. I did an RFP. We had a committee, a steering committee that scored. It was publicly posted in the Bismarck Tribune for the 2-week time period. That we were asking for proposals for this. We went through the scoring process, and we have a contract vendor, a vendor that has been through and vetted through the process and scored and was chosen. But that funding that we had, which was $100,000 coming from the federal level, was not there. And so we had to pause our efforts. I went back to the drawing board and tried to look through some additional funding options. Found out that there was an application available for the North Dakota state opioid settlement dollars. I applied for those funds, and just for everyone's awareness, the funds that I am asking for tonight are not tax dollars. They are opioid settlement dollars, and these opioid settlement dollars are coming from the lawsuits from the opioid pharmaceutical providers that prescribed or manufactured opioids. And Bismarck, as you know, and Burleigh County have filed their own lawsuits specifically. So they have money that comes to Bismarck and Burleigh, and then the state of North Dakota has a pot of money that also comes to them at the state level. That's the funding that I applied for. And unfortunately, there was a large number of applications. There were 59 applications and just 18 awards that were given, and Bismarck Burleigh was not one of those. And so this is my option C. Last night I went to the Burleigh County Commission requesting funding from the Burleigh County portion of the opioid settlement money. At that point, and it would have been in October of 2024, that I had gone and to them, we had taken care of our City of Bismarck's allocation plan as a requirement. North Dakota Century Code 50-36 requires that a political subdivision recovers monies as a result of opioid litigation. They may deposit that money in the state's fund or transfer the monies to the public health unit that provides services to that public health division, to that political subdivision. The political subdivision shall provide an allocation plan to the Behavioral Health Division prior to an expenditure. An allocation plan has been submitted to 50 of those entities that have received them. Bismarck's has been submitted, Burleigh County's has not, because they had not made a decision at that time. They wanted to keep their funding local, but they didn't want to make a decision. So last night, I offered the opportunity, if this were something that they would want to use the local opioid dollars for, and there's a certain list that you have to meet. It's an Exhibit E, I believe. It's part of your packet. And it has to check the boxes on what you use the funds for. So it cannot be used for roads or streets or anything along those lines. It has to meet the requirements outlined in Exhibit E. And this community triage center would apply to those things and meet those needs. And so the discussion last night basically was that no, they would not be giving any funding to us. They wanted more discussion, and maybe there were needs from some other departments, and recommended that we go back and meet with the state's attorney, the sheriff, and my commissioner, Munson. And so tonight, I am here to ask the city the same question. Basically, I have a couple of things to tell you. Healthcare Management Associates is the vendor that we would have offered the contract to. And what they would be doing as part of the contract is basically coming up with a model for a triage center, looking at best practices across the nation, similar models in different areas, looking at a governance structure and what it would look like, who would own it. Would it be a separate nonprofit? Would it be a city entity, a county entity, a local hospital entity? What are the options there? They would develop a formal governance structure, including community partners, look at a financial stability plan, looking at pathways for Medicaid, reimbursement, and what we can do to make this a sustainable solution. Because you know how we've seen in the past some of the local nonprofits have maybe not lasted. It's not a money-making entity, obviously, when you're looking at this type of work. But if we can come up with a financial stability plan to make this work long-term, that would be part of their technical assistance. And then coming together with an implementation roadmap would be the last portion of their contract. They would come to the Burleigh County Commission and to the City Commission, well, if Burleigh County would have approved it. But now to the Bismarck City Commission, if you were to approve, to present this plan. So basically, the money that we're using is to help us with technical assistance. It's not funding a facility. It's not funding a center. It is looking at what it could potentially look like for our community. We have the partners at play. What are the gaps, and what can we do to make this work? It's not something that's come up overnight. It's been an ongoing problem. The police department can speak to that. We've been working closely with them with their homeless ordinance. We have a street outreach team. We're currently partnered with Heartview and Ministry on the Margins, and they're telling people to move along. You know, you can't camp, but where can you go? There's nowhere that you can go. And so a triage center would be a facility that would be open 24/7, 365, and have an ability for police, for the hospitals, for places for people to go during the day, so they're not getting calls from law enforcement, so the businesses aren't calling. That is what we're intending to do. I feel like We don't have a marketing department. My marketing department is my public comments to you guys and coming and talking to you and educating you. We're working with our stakeholders, our community partners to educate on the work we're doing. I apologize if not everybody in the community is aware of every detail that we're doing, and if we can do something better, I'm open to that. But I'm passionate about this project. It's been an ongoing issue and a long, complicated and complex issue that we need to address. And so I guess I'm asking for your support tonight to move this forward, because at this point, I don't know what other option we have.
Commissioner Cleary.
I guess I just wanted to maybe answer one additional question that Renee didn't elaborate too much on, because Renee and I have had a lot of discussions about this over my tenure, because it's been ongoing since I took the seat. But with the opioid settlement funding specifically, and how that trickles down, and the strings that are tied to it, it is something that we're going to continue to receive, because we can continue to apply for it. There's going to continue to be lawsuits. And we currently, as of right now, have $280,000 sitting in that fund. With the strings tied to it, it needs to be used for public health-related, opioid-related things that you read through in that document that she attached. And so I think to just keep that in our brain when we're talking about this, it's like she said, I mean, it's not taxpayer dollars. She's on option C here at this point. She did try to, leave this money alone for other things, even though we haven't even really determined what those things are, and use funding that was elsewhere that's no longer available or with the state wasn't given to us. But I think, obviously, so in my brain, if option C is also no, option D, because this is still something that the community tells us they need when we have these community health needs assessments, when we have these meetings of people and user groups and facilitators, they're all saying that this is a missing piece. And option D, if this is no, is for her to build it into the public health budget as a one-time line item. And if you do that, because public health isn't an enterprise fund, it then does become taxpayer dollars. This is a way for it to not be. These are what these dollars are designed for, in my opinion, I guess, would just be what I want to elaborate for her on.
Commissioners, other questions? Commissioner Risch.
Mr. Mayor, Renee, so you're only asking for the $50,000 tonight, even though the Burleigh County has not decided whether or not to participate. Is that correct?
I guess when I talked to Renee after last night's meeting, my ask, because Renee had to write this a week ago, my ask now, knowing that Burleigh County is, wanting to discuss what else they could use their funding for, my ask would be that we do $100,000. And so that we can move along, because this is really just like step one of what could potentially be a very big project, and is not going to be all public funding, but this is, if we're going to do this, we want it to be done correctly, and this comprehensive plan is the first step of that. So my ask would be that we do the $100,000.
Commissioner Conley.
Renee, thanks for the presentation and all the work that you do. So the federal government turned down funding, which could have led to this. Right now, in the paper today, the state has their own version of DOGE, and their goal is to reduce Health and Human Services by 15%. So funds are going to become even more difficult. How many partnerships are just in the Homeless Coalition alone? I know the room's pretty full.
In the Homeless Coalition alone, I'm not sure exactly. I know in our Burleigh Morton Behavioral Health Coalition, we have over 100 community organizations, and that's our coalition, so I can speak to that. But I'm not sure on the actual numbers of the Homeless Coalition specifically.
Okay. No, I appreciate that too. The gaps are getting bigger. Anytime I sit in on the Homeless Coalition meetings, I would say at least a third of them are saying they've lost funding. Mm-hmm. And it's getting harder to meet the established organizations. It's getting harder to meet what they've already been contributing to the community. So even though we will always have gaps, the needs will always be greater than the resources, this would be adding on top of it to fill in a gap, but a lot of it's going for the same dollars. We'll be putting in requests for an HHS department that has a goal of reducing their funding as costs go up. And that's where my struggle's coming in a little bit is that if we build this, it's an expansion of government if nothing else changes. Is there something we can take off of this side so we can fill in this as a need in our community? Because some of the checks and balances do end up being emergency rooms and so that's some of the things that I've been trying to look for different answers for this too, but when funding gets more constrained and all of the players, we add, say, go from 100 to 101, now the dollar's stretched a little bit more.
And I think, Commissioner Connolly, that's why we're looking at partnerships and what we can do to work together. If we have something that's centrally located, we're sharing a space, location. If Dakota Foundation comes together, Ministry on the Margins is existing, they're coming together. Triage, Mosaic Triage Center, the medical detox piece would be the component for medical detox. We're working together as partnerships, bringing resources together to try to work through efficiencies and look for cost savings. And it would be a cost savings, honestly. I mean, that's part of what the technical assistance piece hopefully will show, is it will reduce the number of emergency room visits, hopefully with the police department's involvement, some of the transports and stuff that they're doing, dropping them off, would help with all of that. And so I think your point is correct. There are shrinking budgets, but that's where this is actually a good thing because it's coming in and looking at more efficient ways of community collaboration and partnerships and what we can do as a community to address this because it's a huge social issue, complicated social issue.
Very, very complicated. It's a small population of people that still deserve dignity and respect, uses an enormous amount of resources.
Sure.
With a lot of needs. And I always, when I think of if I have money in the bank and I see something on sale, if I go spend that money, I'm still out the money in the bank too, knowing that there's so many other things that need to be addressing. Could, out of the 100 that we have out there, is this money better spent addressing those that are losing funding in other areas right now?
I guess that could be something for your guys' decision. Part of the requirement for the funding is it has to be a collaboration with public health. And so we're going to be involved no matter what. And so I think this is a community-wide initiative and it kind of touches all of the partners already. I think there's so many people that are wondering what's happening, what is going to go forward. We need this in the community and they want this to move forward. I presented at the Homeless Coalition meeting an update because people want to see things move forward, but they can't do it on their own. The Homeless Coalition can't do it on their own. They're all running their own organizations. And so if we can have the support of a technical assistance provider and lay out a plan, we're going to have community partners involved, Sanford, CHI, Bismarck, Mandan. It's going to be multiple entities. It just is not the city of Bismarck. So, and that'll all be part of the concept and the planning. So,
Other questions? Commissioner Zinker.
Mayor, Commissioners, and Renee, if you can answer, if maybe you guys don't know, but so Commissioner Cleary, you said we had
280,000 and change.
What's Burley County have?
I don't have that number.
Right here,
yeah, I was going to say the most recent one.
199.
199. Okay. I don't have a problem supporting the 100,000 and if the Burley County wants to reimburse us for some of that, I don't have an issue with that either.
Sure.
Because some of that funding is based on the residents who live within the city limits, so.
And I mean, I think we have a need in the community to deal with the individuals who are suffering from medical or drug addiction or alcohol addiction, and this is part of the way to deal with it. And I know, like, I just received a call this morning concerning individuals who are homeless or without homes in camping, and they probably have no other place to go right now. And I'm not sure that this will move them off the streets. I don't know that there's a great answer, but maybe getting the study done can help us find some answers. And I'm going to ask the question, and I think I already know the answer. Does your staff, or for that matter, is there anyone in the city of Bismarck on staff that has the capacity to do this work?
Mayor Schmitz, with the staff that we have right now?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
And so, therefore, I don't know where we would go elsewhere. That you put an RFP
That's why the
out.
partners, yes, are a part of this.
So,
Yeah.
and I have no problem supporting the full funding of it either, for that reason. Commissioner Conley?
I would say, even if we have it in place, the need's still going to be greater than anything we put in place. So it would be an extra something to address some issues, but we're not going to ever get to that pinnacle to where we'll ever be at like an even keel.
Sure.
When I was an intern at the state hospital and working there, the needs were always greater that they even turned people away.
Mm-hmm.
And the multiple commitments were where people were there time after time was proof of that too.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say, Renee, thanks for all your good work. We gave you the assignment last August. You got the setback in March. You came around and came up with an alternative plan, and I certainly support fully
Thank you.
funding the 100,000.
All right, well, I'm going to move to allocate the 100,000 from the City of Bismarck's opioid settlement funds to support technical assistance to develop a comprehensive plan for the community triage center in Bismarck.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Commissioner Rish?
Yes.
Commissioner Zanker?
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes. Thank you, Renee. Item G, consider request for resolution receiving bids, ordering preparation of engineer's statement and awarding contract for street improvement SI 590 and water improvement district WA 334. Go ahead, Game.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. If I could get the share link up on the screen for a moment. Mayor and Commissioners, Street Improvement District 590 and Water Improvement District 334 are Hamilton street improvements in the vicinity of the new Fairview Cemetery, Eastgate Funeral Home, funeral home is being constructed at the intersection of Century Avenue and Hamilton Street. We previously had a development agreement with this group that assigns the cost of this improvement to that entity. So we opened up bids yesterday at 4 p.m. We had 3 bidders on the project. Our low bidder is Northern Improvement Company with a low bid of $239,674.40. Our recommendation is to approve the bid of Northern Improvement.
Move to approve is presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Rish?
Yes.
Commissioner Zanker?
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes. Item H, consider request to receive bids and award contract for highway construction project 132. Go ahead, Gabe.
Mayor, Commissioners, Highway Construction Project 132 is two parts. The main part is the interchange reconstruction project that's underway right now. But the other piece of that is that the DOT is spooling up about 1,600 feet of fiber optic cable into a pull box. And then this project, the other part of our locally funded Highway Construction Project 132, would take that fiber and pull it into the Miriam Fire Station, which would then give us visibility and connectivity to the traffic signal systems that are being constructed as part of the interchange project. So this is a project that we also opened up yesterday. We had 3 bidders on this one as well, with a low bid of from Eagle River Utility Solutions with a bid of $75,500. Our recommendation is to award.
Move to approve is presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Commissioner Zanker?
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Commissioner Cleary?
Yes.
Commissioner Rish?
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz?
Yes. Item I. Consider request to discuss the draft public comment policy for the City of Bismarck advisory boards, committees, and commissions. And I think, Is there there's a draft that's in our packet. Is there any further comments after commissioners had seen it? And what are our thoughts and concerns? Generally speaking, I think we're already at this table have been addressing public comment, with the exception that we need to also include the prior commission meeting agenda as open to public comment, I think under statute, if I understand that correctly. Julie? Okay. So, comments, thoughts? Where are we at? Commissioners? Go ahead, Commissioner
Mr.
Risch.
Mayor, Commissioner, I think it's a good idea. Somebody might be watching this on community access and all of a sudden, oh, I wish I would have been there. I could have commented on that particular issue. So at the public comment period at the next meeting, they could have that opportunity. So I think it's a good addition and required by law, so.
Commissioner Conley.
Did everybody get the email I sent with the underlines, separate from the template? I know you were out of the office on Monday, so yeah, Jason, so you asked Doug to forward it?
Oh, I did not. I apologize.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead with your comments.
Okay,
Commissioner.
it's actually really good. From our policy, the ordinance that we put in place for elected and appointed officials, some of the we have written into that policy saying that public comment will be at 5 minutes, but I have down on line 5 after the public comment policy, heard while maintaining a transparent. The reason why I put transparent is state law, as far as open meetings, the two reasons for it is for transparency and efficient meeting. So the current terminology in the orderly and efficient, the only part that wasn't there is the word transparent, so I added that.
Commissioner, in which section? Help me find it. I'm sorry.
I'd have to switch screens here.
Bullet 5?
This is right after the public comment policy. Could we put it up there, since they don't have a copy of it?
I'm just trying to envision
Yep.
where you're placing this word.
I'm trying to think of the easier way without using too many words.
Okay.
Is it in the opening paragraph?
Yeah.
Right after meeting environment and transparency?
The policy outlines a procedure for public comment to ensure that all individuals have the fair opportunity to be heard while maintaining, and then I added the word transparent, comma, orderly and efficient meeting environment.
I have no problem with that.
Okay. And then on number 2, it's to provide public comment that each individual must sign, and it said previous on there. I took the previous part out. We've always been doing it, provided at the podium, so people are signing there. I really think locally, Bismarck does it better than any open meeting I've seen in the state. I like that because we also have a visual image.
Yeah, I like it signing at the podium rather than prior. I mean, because they can, works for me. Yeah.
And then as far as individual provides, sometimes they're asking questions about jurisdiction, whether it's, say, Misty Waters or those type of things. The individual's name and residential address, no P.O. box, because sometimes we have follow-up questions, and that might help in us following up with people.
So I would have a concern with posting people's addresses and those types of things, just because of scammers like to take everything. So I mean, the more
even
general,
if it's just Bismarck, North Dakota, or Burley County,
they can state the city or whatever. I also
like
have a
Travis
concern,
said, ETA. I don't have a problem with
and I have a concern even if you start putting addresses out there. I just, we don't need to have attacks.
Do we post the sign-in sheet? I don't think we post the sign-in sheet, do we?
Mayor and Commissioners, the sign-in sheet that we have simply says name and phone number. Today, the state law that was passed does indicate the address is required. However, it is protected by open records and would be redacted if anyone were to request it.
So they can fill out the sheet.
They
but
can
don't
fill it
have
out
to
for our
put it-
record, but we would not
They're not
distribute that
saying their
information.
address
It
out
is
loud.
We won't
not
have to have
part
to
of the
say it.
minutes. No.
I was just kind of that check and balance so that we can follow up on some of the comments because people expect it.
Yep, no problem with that. I just don't really want to have them have to air it.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
yep.
agree.
And, well, with the state meeting now too, with everything that happened in Minnesota,
Yeah.
we want to protect our people and our elected and staff. But on line 5, public comment agenda, I added the word may be limited to, and may just because 2180 and that, part of the back and forth and all of the testimony and things is that this was never a protected right on behalf of the citizen. So this is a citizen win. At the same time, allowing the chair to have flexibility as far as time and minutes and that is maybe limited. And I just put in a total of 60 minutes. And that's, say 12 people getting 5 minutes each, it goes into 60 evenly. There's been very few meetings that I've ever seen exceed that, so we still have an efficient meeting
So
at 60 minutes versus 30 minutes.
I have no problem, in my opinion, with the word adding may limit. I still think 30 minutes is appropriate. It still has chair discretion to extend, and no different than the 5-minute, the chair has the discretion. If someone's got very solid information, we're going to want to hear it. And I'm hopeful that whoever is the chair of a committee or a commission, because this will apply to our committees as well, is going to be respectful of those individuals who are here to give us information. And I would hope they would extend the 30 minutes, because I would certainly plan to do that.
Yeah, and I'm
Go
okay
ahead,
with it.
Commissioner Zinker.
And remember, this is just public comment. This doesn't have anything to do with the
Public
Hearings.
public hearings
Right,
or
right.
anything like that.
Right.
So,
Yeah, well, those are protected in century code, so. Part of the reason why I'm looking at this is I do think Bismarck utilizes public comment better than anybody I've seen and a lot of people are struggling over this issue and wrestling with it, and it's kind of been a haphazard process, so setting a good example, if we use it well, maybe somebody looks to us as an example, but I don't mind being at the 30, but I thought I'd bring it up. And then the last part, regardless of how many individuals have signed on the speaker sheet, per the discretion of the chair, and I guess the 60 would remain at 30, but those are the only things that I had as far as differences.
Everybody, okay?
Yeah.
So other than making the couple of edits, Jason, I think then we could probably just adopt it tonight
Yeah,
as
it's
edited.
just a couple of word changes.
Mayor and Commissioners, based on the consensus that we're hearing, we can certainly make those changes that everyone has agreed to, and then it will be our burden to get this to the advisory boards and committees and make sure that all the departments that staff those have this and implement it in a similar fashion throughout all meetings.
So I just want to check one thing. Sorry. Because I thought I read it, now I can't find it. Did we say that the current, yes, item 6, all comments must address an item on the current agenda or at least one preceding? I would like to say the preceding meeting instead of at least one, because the law says the previous one.
Yeah, I would think so, just because I think it's more clear. It's less vague.
Well, I don't know, that might be overthinking it, but regularly scheduled meeting, because if we have a special meeting in between, does that usurp it?
I was thinking regularly scheduled.
Okay. No, I'm glad you added that, Mayor. But I think this is a good swing in letting our citizens be heard. I testified on this at the state quite a bit.
All right, so do we have general consensus then?
Yeah.
Okay, then Jason, go ahead, and team, whoever helped put this together, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners.
Item J, consider request to receive an update on the progress of the 2025 strategic plan.
Evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm here just to give you a brief update of how strategic planning is going. Patrick Ibarra, our consultant, has been in town a couple times now. Most recently was June 24th and 25th. During that time, we kind of focused on four things. We worked on reviewing our current vision, mission, and values, trying to determine if it still makes sense for this strategic plan. And remember, this strategic plan is significantly different from what we approved in 2019 or what our current plan is, because it's more internally or organizationally focused. So prior to meeting with Patrick on the 24th and 25th, we had subgroups get together to kind of analyze what our 2019 values, vision, and mission were, and had that prepared for that meeting. We also took a look at what our 2019 strategic plan was as far as goals and objectives, and evaluated whether some of those, whether they were completed, relevant, if we wanted to carry them on to the next iteration of our strategic plan. We did a SWOT analysis, looking at our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. And then we took a long look at our strategic focus areas. With our 2019 plan being community focused, those strategic focus areas didn't quite line up with the direction that we're going with this strategic plan. And I believe you have a handout of a summary of what our strategic focus areas are going to be moving forward, and that's infrastructure and development, economic vitality, safe and healthy community, emerging issues, engaged and informed community, desirable lifestyle, and organizational excellence. So those are quite different than what we had in our 2019 plan. Before I go any further, I want to just compliment our team that we've got working on this. There's quite a few directors, and we obviously have Commissioner Zinker leading this committee, but the directors get to work together quite often. But what I've been most impressed with is we've got a handful of staff that aren't directors that the first time we got together really were just kind of feeling their way. And I can remember being in that position, working with directors as being a lower level supervisor. And it's pretty intimidating to get into that environment and to provide feedback. But in this last meetings on the 24th and 25th, they provided some really valuable insight for our organization. So I just want to give a little praise to Sarah Berner, Kaylin Ost, Katie Jonke, Luke Teagle, Jason Stugemeyer, and Tondra Kraft. You guys have done a great job with this committee, and we're really looking forward to what you continue to bring as we meet again later this month. The vision and mission were something that we were able to kind of nail down over the last time Patrick was here. And I'm going to read you what the vision was, if you don't mind. I'm going to read you what the vision was previously in 2019. It's quite long. Bismarck is a preferred destination for people who enjoy living, learning, working, and playing in a city with an enduring community pride. We embrace our rich heritage, economic opportunity, and lifelong learning to cultivate a healthy and sustainable environment, fostering opportunity for all. That's a lot. It's a lot to remember. I've been a part of this organization the entire time we've had that, and I can only remember bits and pieces. So what we settled on, we want it to be memorable. We want it to be something that we can work towards while also remembering what exactly keeps people in Bismarck, which is our high quality of life. So our new vision statement is Bismarck is a dynamic community committed to an exceptional quality of life. So much more memorable. I think it's a great reflection of who we are as a community and where we want to continue to strive to be. And then our mission, we had a pretty great mission, I thought, previously. Very simple. It's to provide high-quality public service in partnership with our community to enhance our quality of life. That's pretty easy, but we've edited a little bit, and it's a little bit more succinct, and it is simply, together, we deliver exceptional public service. So our mission is more what we look at as staff. The vision is more community. So our next steps, Patrick will be in town July 22nd and 23rd. So we have 2 full-day workshop with him, and we'll be focusing on nailing down what exactly our goals are going to be for those strategic focus areas, and hopefully we get into some objectives as well. And then once determining where we end up with those 2-day with that workshop, we'll figure out what we need to do moving forward. Commissioner Zinker, if you have Anything to add?
No, Doug, you did a fantastic job. I'll just echo what Doug said too. It took a little bit to break the ice in the room. I'm sure having a commissioner sitting there with you for a couple days kind of adds some ice, but they got to see a little bit different side of me than at a commission table, so it's all good. Dimitri and I had a little bit of jargon going back and forth, so a couple guys who have burned a bridge or two together, we're okay. No, it's great. And anytime you get an opportunity to work on your business, which we're doing right now, a service-oriented business is fantastic. It's always because I sat through the 2019 one as well, and it's really nice to see how the group can have the same ideas, same thought processes because they're dedicated employees as to how they want to provide the service for the city of Bismarck. At the end of the day, on the second day, we were starting to run out of gas a little bit, but the final product will be very, very good, and I'm excited to see it in our next 2 meetings that we have. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
It's great to hear the engagement that has come from up and down the chain of command, so. We're to other business. Anyone else have any other business? Commissioner Risch.
I just want to say, since the last commission meeting, we had a couple of big events. One was the Juneteenth party, and I was honored to read the resolution at the Juneteenth. It was a big party, a lot of music, good food, dancing, all kinds of things. And then the 4th of July celebration was just incredible. I want to thank Jason Tomanik for heading up that effort. We had a good party up there and really enjoyed that. I saw the mayor was there welcoming people, so that was pretty good things happening.
It was very well attended, and it was attended not just at the bowl, but people all over the community. I heard of people at Texas Roadhouse in the parking lot, and Texas Roadhouse people came out and gave the kids some kind of treat at dark. So it was amazing. And so, well, any other business? Commissioner Conley.
Watching the county commission meeting, I just wanted to say last night, they have unanimous consensus that they'll be at the August 5th Bismarck Burley meeting on the 4th, and the public is certainly welcome to attend that meeting as well.
Yep. All right. If we have no other business, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.